Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Watches TV, where I watch all the television shows, and then I come over here and I react to them. Then you guys let me know what you thought about them in the comment section below, and we kind of have a little bit of a conversation about TV. So if you like to watch TV shows, and you like to watch movies, and you like to have conversations about it, subscribe to my channel and come over here. I cover everything from true crime to just regular documentaries about anything, to reality TV, to all the trending shows on Netflix and Apple and Paramount and Peacock and everywhere else. And today I want to talk about a new documentary that just came out, I believe on the 19th, on Netflix, which is titled The Twister Caught in the Storm. Okay, so before I get into this, I just want to say, I didn't even know this was coming out. I hadn't heard anything about it. Typically before every month, I go in and I look up like the best true crime documentaries that are coming out, the best documentaries that are coming out, the best new shows, and I keep a list of them. So in my phone, I have so many different TV show lists. I have a list of the weekly shows that I'm watching. I have a list of shows that I want to binge in 2025, some of them that are years old, some of them that are brand new. I have a list of all the shows that people recommend to me. And then I have a list of like April shows, March shows, so that I know which shows I want to watch. And in my list of like March shows, I have in there true crime documentaries, new shows that are coming out, new seasons of old shows that are being released, new true crime documentaries and things like that. And this was not mentioned in any article that I read. So people started sending this to me, I think it was a couple days ago, people started sending this to me, and they were like, I want to know what you think about this. For those of you that do not know, I just recently started a new Instagram account. I have my regular Peter Mon Instagram account, but then I also have an Instagram account just associated with this channel, where every day, whatever I'm watching, I like put up in my stories, and then I put the thumbnails for the shows that I'm watching over here, and it's just another place to talk about TV. I love to talk about TV. And so it was a couple days ago, over there, people are, like in the direct messages, people are sending me suggestions for shows like crazy. And people started sending me the poster for the show on Netflix, The Twister, Caught in the Storm. And I was like, what is this? I haven't heard about it. And then people started watching it, and people were sending it to me, and they were like, Peter, I want you to watch this. I really want to know what you think about this. So I was like, okay, I need to go in and watch it. And I didn't know if this was coming out because the newest Twister movie just came out not too long ago, which I have not seen. My husband watched it. He said he thought it was okay. He said it was not as good as the first one. I remember watching the first one and it first came out. I am somebody that loves to watch things about storms. I love to watch weather channels on YouTube. I watch regularly in the last 6 months. People have recommended them to me, and so I started watching Ryan Hall Y'all, and I started watching Max Velocity. I love watching the weather channels. I remember back in the day when Anderson Cooper would do, you know, the weather coverage when he would be in the middle of the storm. I can remember when the Weather Channel was always in the background and you just have it turned on if you were just cleaning the house or doing stuff around the house. And so, you know, weather is a thing that I'm passionate about. I love watching, I love hearing about and things like that. And so I went into this documentary really thinking that this was what it was going to be about. I will say that I remember this tornado happening, and I remember hearing news stories about it. I did not remember it being as devastating as it was. So the show, The Twister, Caught in the Storm, is about a tornado that touched ground. It was an F5 tornado. Actually, let me just read you this synopsis really, really quick. Somebody asked if it's based on a true story. They said yes. The documentary revisits the the EF5 tornado that hit Joplin, Missouri on May 22nd, 2011. The tornado caused widespread destruction across the town, injuring more than 1,000 people and killing 158, making it one of the deadliest on record. I think at the end of the documentary, they actually said 161 people had passed from this tornado. So I like went into it, and I did not know the specifics about this. I remember it happening, but I didn't remember the specifics happening about it. So I live in Indiana, and I'm kind of east of, you know, Tornado Alley and things like that, but we still do get a lot of tornadoes. They talk in there in the documentary about when you're a kid growing up and you do the tornado drills in school. That is something that I grew up with. I can remember tornado drills. I can remember even like this spring, I'm sure future, we will have the difference between tornado watches, tornado warnings. It is something that, whenever I've talked about it in videos, and people from, other places are like, oh, that's not something we experience here. And I've even, equated it to, like other people that live in other parts of the world. It's the weather of what they're used to, like whether it might be hurricanes or earthquakes, is not something that we experience in Indiana. So when I went into this, I was like, oh, well, this is something like, we're not right in the middle of Tornado Alley, but like we have experienced tornadoes and tornado drills and things like that. I've seen tornadoes touch down. So I was like, this will be really interesting. I really went into it thinking that it was just going to be kind of a news coverage documentary of this tornado that was like this horrific tornado that had done a lot of damage. That was not what this documentary was. This documentary is probably, and I have watched so many documentaries, not just true crime documentaries. I mean, I've watched so many documentaries through the years. I watched them with my mom growing up. She loved documentary film. She loved unscripted film. I've watched so many documentaries, and one of the things for me that I love about watching a documentary is when it brings the stories of the people that are in it alive. And in watching this documentary, this documentary is really about the people of Joplin, Missouri. It's about the tornado that happened to them, but in telling their story, it's really about loss and love. It's about community, and it's about togetherness, and it's absolutely beautifully done. It's all beautifully done to the backdrop of this horrific event that occurred in their town. And it's kind of all told from, I would say, like 6 to 8 different points of view. It's really interesting, and they have a lot of footage, like actual footage from people's phones, from security cameras, from different things that happen. And so when it starts, it's like the night before, or I think they predicted that it was going to be like the end of the world or something like that. Joplin, Missouri is a very religious city. They talk about, this one guy talks in there about how there's like a church on every corner there. And so it's a very religious city. It's a very God-fearing city. And so they talk about things like the apocalypse and the end of the world and all of that. And so the storm happens, and it's kind of like the perfect storm, in all honesty. Like they aren't expecting it. It's a clear day. It's beautiful outside. And so it's kind of told from several different points of view. It is the day of the Joplin High School graduation. And so literally they graduate, and like 10 minutes later, this tornado is hit. So you get to hear different sides of different people's points of view. I don't want to go in and completely ruin everything, because I think it is such a fantastic watch. I think everybody should watch it. I think it's testimony to getting through difficult times and getting through tragedy. I think their stories afterwards are, when you hear them talk afterwards and what their lives look like now and what they've learned from it, are so powerful that to watch it, the whole thing, and it's an hour and 29 minutes. It's not super long. It's just a really, really powerful documentary. I was moved to tears at the end of it. I thought it was beautifully done. So you have different points of view. You have this guy that's in high school at the time. He's 17 years old. He's gay, and he is not out, and he is very worried about the end of the world and being left behind because he's gay. And so he equates the storm to that. His story is extremely interesting. Then you have a couple that are dating. I don't believe that they're dating like after this event. But anyway, and then her brother. And the three of them are basically like storm chasers. And so they're going after the tornado, but then what happens is the tornado starts chasing them. And so they're trying to get away. And they hide out in this like gas station, I believe. A gas station liquor store kind of thing they hide out in. And then you have three friends that are just kind of like driving around cruising, and one of their dads tells them that they need to like get safe because there's a tornado, and they like literally drive right into the tornado. One of the guys is like ripped from the car, and goes into the tornado. His story is so powerful, of his like what happens to him afterwards and things like that. You have this kid that at the time was 13 years old, and he was like wanting to be this like newscaster, I believe he is today, from San Diego. And so he was going to work with the meteorologists in Joplin, Missouri. And so that's why they were there, because this is tornado season. And he and his mom literally land on the day of the tornado. You have this other guy that was kind of like football jock. He describes himself that way in high school. Right after his high school graduation, his dad is like the chief of the ambulance EMS team. And so, I mean, he's part of it, like going out there and looking around. I mean, you have it from all these different points of views. It's so fantastically done how they tell the story, because it isn't just about the story of the tornado. It's about, like, this one woman telling her story. She's talking about how she was, like, lacking confidence and she had so much fear, and that after the tornado, she realized you're really not in control of anything, and that it helped her in her career. It helped her, like, travel places she would never travel and talk to people that she would never talk to, because she realized that, like, she'd already gone through the worst thing that she was probably going to go through in her life, and that she had a lot of confidence as a result of it. The takeaway that a lot of these people have, I mean, the guy that identifies as gay and talks about how he didn't feel comfortable coming out, and he could not wait to do anything but move as far away from Joplin, Missouri when he was in high school, and he has chosen to stay there. And at the end of the story, he's crying, and he's like, I love this city. He's like, I love Joplin. And he has stayed, and he has opened a not-for-profit, I believe it's like a LGBTQI plus community center. And it's just like what their lives have turned into today as a result of having gone through this. Then to see that everybody afterwards, too, I think there was like 300,000 volunteers that rebuilt the city. The school is absolutely demolished. At the end of it, they show footage of the, like, high school, like the cameras inside the high school, and they show the footage of it going through the school. It is, like, absolutely terrifying. I mean, I was sitting there when I was watching it thinking, I can remember being, like, in school hallways like that when we would do tornado drills, and, like, that tornado drill would be completely worthless. So you see it in real time. I mean, they show it happen in real time. They're telling their stories before. They're telling their stories of what happened. It's all done in real time. They talk about what the weather was like and that it was beautiful outside, and then all of a sudden it just changed, that they thought it was going to be a thunderstorm, that it was actually a tornado wrapped in a thunderstorm. They also have the meteorologist, I think his name was Doug Hetty, that was the lead meteorologist in Joplin, Missouri at that time, that's covering it. They go through and they talk about like when they're, like, they can start seeing, like, the tornado touchdown, and that, I mean, they show the city afterwards. They show it in its entirety. The couple and her brother that were trapped, like, where they were trying to get safe in this gas station or whatever, I think it's like a gas station, liquor store, convenience store, I don't know. But anyway, they're, like, in the coolers protecting themselves, and they're, like, getting lifted out by the air. And she talks about it at one point. She records the whole thing. So she is, like, recording of the whole thing. I have a feeling that afterwards they may have, like, uploaded it or something. There's a lot of talk about this kid in high school that was a YouTuber at the time, that sadly passed as a result of this. And they talk about that at the end of it. I mean, it's really more about the togetherness and the building of a community and how they got through this horrible tragedy. I think in a time in the world that we're in right now, especially in the United States, that a movie of getting through tragedy by building community and togetherness is really important. It's beautifully told. I think that it's visually, it is shot beautifully. The interviews are vulnerable, raw, and fantastic. I mean, the people that are interviewed are so emotional and they're so vulnerable. Their interviews are some of the most fantastic interviews I've ever seen about anything in any documentary. They're just raw and genuine. It is one of the most fantastic documentaries I've ever seen, and I cannot recommend it enough. And I actually got done with it, and I thought, I'm not somebody that watches documentaries over and over again. There's been a few. The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia, I've watched a few times. Paris is Burning, I absolutely love. I could watch that again and again. But there's not many documentaries that I would probably watch, especially true crime, I wouldn't watch over and over again. This is maybe a documentary that I would watch again, maybe a couple times. This is something that I think that my husband would really enjoy, and so I thought, well, maybe I'll ask him if he wants to watch it this week, and we'll watch it together. Because I think that the story of community and togetherness, and also the way that they really show this tragedy that occurred, I think it is so well done. It's so interesting. It's so sad. It's so tragic. It's interesting having, like I said at the beginning of this, lived around, tornadoes and tornado drills and warnings and all that kind of stuff my entire life. It's interesting to see it from the point of view of it actually hitting a town and what it does to a town. I mean, I've seen movies where it's fictionalized. At one point, somebody said something about, like, I saw The Wizard of Oz, it's like, but I've seen, movies where, like Twister, I've seen that, but to actually see it hit a town, and I've seen news coverage, I've seen the Weather Channel when they cover towns like this, it seems, almost like so removed from it when I'm watching it on the news. Like, it doesn't seem personal. Like, it almost seems kind of made up. And this documentary doesn't allow that to happen because it personalizes it with the people's stories, which is so important. And I thought it was so beautifully done. So anyway, let me know what you thought in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.